financially mostly, from what I see. 'Cause, you know, it's all about, everybody wants to be a big shot, but they gotta pay the price. You know, they have to know how to handle defeat.
If I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference, almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Into that.
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight.
Quite surprised because it sounded like Jake Paul and Joshua was getting closer and closer for January. However, there have been rumors of Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul in the past. I think with Gervonta Davis's kind of legal problems in the last month or so and rumors about his retirement, I don't think it's a massive shock that he is taking this Jake Paul fight if it is going to go ahead, purely for the reason that it's a lot of money for maybe not the most difficult job that he's going to have in his career. So it's a strange one, but yeah, it's just another kind of day in the sport, really, isn't it?
Mike Tyson isn't holding back when it comes to Jake Paul's latest bold claim about beating Gervonta "Tank" Davis. The former heavyweight champion, known for his brutal honesty as much as his devastating punches, ripped into the YouTuber turned boxer, making it clear that stepping into the ring with a pound-for-pound talent like Davis is no laughing matter. Tyson, who has been both supportive and critical of Jake's boxing journey, didn't mince words in reminding him of the vast gap between internet stardom and elite boxing greatness.
Oh my days. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Is this real? This can't be real. Because he was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight. And now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if like the main pages have posted this. But Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta, State Farm Arena. This is random, no?
The matchup between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, now scheduled for November 14th in Miami, has sent shockwaves through the sport. Initially planned for Atlanta, the fight was moved after the Georgia Athletic Commission raised serious concerns over the massive weight difference between the two fighters, and they weren't wrong. Jake Paul, who has competed near 200 pounds, will be facing a man who has never weighed much more than 135. We're talking about a potential 65-pound weight advantage, a physical mismatch so glaring that many are calling this fight a circus, not a serious contest.
People are like so fucking insecure. Kind of lost myself in the whole entertainment world. And so when I found boxing, it gave me that like routine, that discipline. I got to like take time for myself in these boxing camps. And every day for training, I had to like meditate. And boxing gave me the ability to like reflect on myself and like realizing who I was and who I wanted to be. And that helped me mature. You get addicted to that validation from others. And that's something that I realized that I had to face. And like, why do so many people want clout? I'm not good enough. I need followers. I need likes. It's driving a lot of our generation because they're working so hard to get this external validation.
And this is where the controversy begins. Davis, an undefeated multi-division champion, was expected to face Lamont Roach Jr. in a highly anticipated rematch after their controversial draw. Instead, he's pivoted to an exhibition fight against a YouTuber for a massive payday. This move has led many, including Shakur Stevenson, to question his competitive spirit. If you're a real champion and the top-level guy that you say you are and you just came off a draw, I think rematching would be the most competitive thing to do as an athlete, Stevenson argued. The Jake Paul situation is like it's a money grab fight.
25 is at the next year. I'm out of it.
After our second fight. You're out of it?
Yeah.
Care to elaborate on that?
Out of the sport.
After our second fight. Nah, no, I'm gonna win, bro.
Nah, I could tell you my fights.
Who do you think will win between Jake Paul and Gervonta?
But I don't know. It should be Gervonta, right? But the weight size and everything, we'll see. It's a fun entertainment.
I think Gervonta Davis is probably the greatest fighter around now, but he's got a tough fight coming up. You know, he's the top dog. There's no doubt about it. He showed that. But Barrios, he's a pretty good fighter. Last time I saw him fight, he was pretty durable.
But while the purists are crying foul, others like UFC President Dana White see a strategic silver lining for Tank. Davis has been facing challenges outside the ring, and this fight offers him a massive platform and a huge payday at a time when he needs it most. But then, White dropped a bombshell, shocking everyone by declaring that Jake Paul could realistically defeat Davis, not because of skill, but because of sheer physicality. In his eyes, the size, strength, and reach advantages Paul carries into the ring might be too much for even a fighter as talented as Tank to overcome.
We know that Gervonta's going to fight Jake Paul in November, and then we'll see what happens if there's an AJ fight. Be interested to go from Gervonta Davis to Anthony Joshua, but I don't think the Chavez fight is terrible. I think it's a smart bit of business.
I think it's extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please, AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua. I think that's the only reason we're going to see this fight.
I mean, I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. Swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like, you put him in with someone his own size, who's a professional, and it's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him. He's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level. And then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different. It's like a different sport.
If you think this fight is a disgrace to the sport of boxing, hit that like button and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
My name was mentioned at his press conference and he shit himself. And the fight was just absolutely fucking diabolical. Again, I've said before, he's not a professional boxer. He never will be. And he proves time and time again that he's not a professional fighter. So, Jake Paul, go on, piss off.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode. But hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in and I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Frotch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
And Dana White isn't the only one giving Jake Paul a chance. Paulie Malignaggi, a former world champion, cautioned that while Crawford is an elite fighter, size differences can sometimes outweigh technical brilliance. He pointed out that history has repeatedly shown smaller champions running into trouble when they move up too far in weight, and that Jake Paul's natural frame and raw power could create serious problems. For him, the issue isn't about talent, it's about the physical limits of the sport.
The exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay.
If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy,
Right.
he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, you're like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
Carl Froch, another former champion, raised serious safety concerns, arguing that in a real boxing world, this matchup would never be licensed because the risk is too high. He believes Davis has never had to absorb blows from someone with Paul's size and mass, and that a single heavy punch could do serious damage. He called Jake Paul's boxing absolutely useless, but acknowledged that the raw physicality he brings into the ring makes this a dangerous proposition for the much smaller Davis.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony, he took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. He's not a joke. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He took an L there. But Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%. It's happening, it's positioning, it's marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face-to-face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's going to fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly going to be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3 because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. Do you know what I mean? You never know.
And who will be the queen of the United? Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight, and what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
But for every voice of concern, there's another that sees this as nothing more than an entertaining spectacle. Nate Diaz, who lost to Paul in 2023, described the fight as intriguing but strange, admitting that while he's not hating on it, it's hard to take seriously. And that seems to be the consensus. This isn't about legitimate competition, it's about entertainment.
Let's talk about AJ ever so quickly. I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in. He just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed-up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight. But they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. No. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah, go on. I'd like to see it.
You are beating up on dudes who don't box. They're not boxers.
I was on Disney Channel while these guys were winning UFC championships.
Okay.
You know, I was playing with Mickey Mouse while these guys were throwing arm bars and winning UFC championships. Everyone's, you know, analyzing my career, critiquing it, paying attention to it from day one, but you can't tell me who was Mike Tyson's first fight. You can't tell me who Muhammad Ali, who is his fourth fight. No one knows, but everyone's seen all of my fights. I tried to fight Tommy Fury. Yeah, I tried to fight Tommy Fury, and he backed out due to a rib injury. Undefeated, young prospect. He comes from the Fury family. You know, his brother's the heavyweight champion of the world. I tried to fight him, and he got scared.
Joe Rogan has repeatedly defended Jake Paul's credibility, arguing that if he wasn't a YouTube star, people would be taking him seriously as a rising boxer. He points to Paul's clean technique, power, and solid performances as proof that he's more than just an influencer playing dress-up. However, critics like Stephen A. Smith have fired back, arguing that Paul has built his record against opponents who are either past their prime or not legitimate boxers at all. He confronted Jake directly, saying, "You are beating up on dudes who don't box."
I can't buy the hype at this particular moment in time. Now, I'll give Jake Paul credit for this. At least he's in the ring with a boxer. But 57 years old is 57 years old. And 57 years old and formally walking into a UFC fight as an audience member, as a patron with a cane, it's hard to me believe a year later that you're going to be in any condition to really, really fight. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. And if you're Jake Paul, here's what I want to say to you. It's Mike Tyson, that's fine. It's a money fight, I get you, and you want to make money. But at some point in time, if you keep telling us that you're taking boxing seriously and you want to be recognized as a big-time boxer / fighter, you're going to have to fight somebody closer to your age who is a contender at the very least in the sport and who lives with it every single day. Could you please get in the ring with somebody? Pretty please with sugar on top. I'm interested.
What did you think about the fight, Jake Paul?
I hate it. And Jake Paul's starting to piss me off. Mike Tyson is 57 years old, man. Jake Paul been training with professional boxing trainers for years. He takes the sport very seriously.
Thank you. So let me ask you, that's the question I have, because great kid, great businessman, by the way, amazing. And I know how he does all this, the character and the persona. We keep saying that he doesn't want to be a boxer. He's not a boxer. But then
Jake Paul is a boxer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point.
Exactly. He's a boxer.
He can fight. I respect it. So go in there against fighters. You should be climbing the ladder towards those other fighters and taking the sport seriously to the point where you're fighting actual boxers. Now he decides to fight a fighter, a real fighter, which is Tyson. But Tyson is 30 years older. Stop this nonsense of going against dudes that either ain't boxing or is 25 years removed from the sport.
This fight has become a flashpoint for the soul of boxing. Is it a sport of elite competition, or is it devolving into a world of celebrity spectacles and money grabs? Cal Sonnen argued that Tank doesn't even know how to sell a fight, and that without Jake Paul's marketing machine, this event wouldn't even be on the radar. In his view, this isn't a boxing match. It's a business transaction, and one that Tank desperately needs. In the end, this fight is a collision of two different worlds. For Gervonta Davis, it's a chance to prove that elite skill can overcome any physical disadvantage and to cash in on the biggest payday of his career. For Jake Paul, it's another opportunity to silence the critics and prove that even against a pound-for-pound champion, his size and improving ability can carry him to a shocking victory. November 14th is shaping up to be one of the strangest nights in boxing history. And whether it ends in a dominant display of skill, a shocking upset, or just a bizarre spectacle, you can be sure the entire world will be watching.